Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's day is going well. Excited for y'all to be here. We'll give everyone just another minute or so as folks join, and then we'll go ahead and kick things off here. I'll get this screen share fired up. All right, looks like that's coming through. See people continuing to join. I think we're now at 1 past the hour. So I think we're good to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everybody. We are so glad that you're all here to join us. Welcome to Proposal Power Moves, Pro Tips for OpenAsset and InDesign users. So really excited for this customer virtual workshop. And kind of for the first customer-focused virtual workshop that we're doing here, we've teamed up with the amazing Julie Shaffer, you can see here, to bring you this session. So really excited for this. We've had the chance to do a lot of collaborative work together with Julie, and we just had a blast hanging out at the SWRC conference a few weeks ago. So excited to kind of piggyback off of that and dive into our webinar today. As a quick agenda for what we'll be covering. So we'll start off with quick introductions for myself and Julie, just a quick overview of OpenAsset and Shaffer Creative, and then we'll go ahead and dive in. So we'll walk through the best practices and workflows that we find our customers leveraging with OpenAsset and InDesign. From there, I'm going to pass it off to Julie, and Julie's going to take over and really highlight some awesome tips and tricks for making those InDesign documents shine once you have your content out of OpenAsset and into InDesign. And then, of course, we will be leaving plenty of time for Q&A as well. So that being said, as we're going through, feel free to drop those questions into the Q&A button on the Zoom toolbar. Again, we'll leave time at the end to answer those. And any that we don't get to, we'll be sure to follow up with you directly via email after the session. On that note, this is being recorded, so you'll get a follow-up email that will be going out tomorrow. It'll include the recording of this session, so you can feel free to check that out, pass it along to any other team members who may find it useful. We'll, again, answer any questions if we don't get to them, and we'll also include a copy of this presentation as well. So today's speakers, as I mentioned, myself and Julie. I'll do a quick introduction for myself and then pass it over to Julie. So I am looking at the attendee list and have had the fortunate opportunity to speak with many of you on here, but my name is CJ and I'm the Customer Marketing Manager here at OpenAsset. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years. And really, my role is all about helping our customers get the most out of the platform by highlighting key features and workflows and sharing ways that other customers like you are using the system. I am originally from Indiana, based out of Madison, so always like to give a shout out to our fellow Midwesterners here. I'm sure a number of you are dialing in from Chicago. And that said, I'll pass it over to Julie to do a quick intro of herself.
Awesome. Thank you, CJ. I'm Julie Shaffer, and I am both a CPSM and a fellow of FSMPS. I am the owner, chief knowledge bomber of Shaffer Creative, and I'm also an Adobe community expert. So I have been in the AEC space for almost my entire career, so well over 20 years. I've been a member of FSMPS for almost that entire time. And I'm thrilled to be here today. I'm passionate about people using InDesign effectively and efficiently. And I am here in Texas where it is currently storming out. So hopefully you're getting better weather where you are.
Yeah, I hope so too. We were on the prep for this and looked like the yeah, the window's open. It's just that dark in there
It's
because of
just
the
that
storm.
dark.
So hopefully, yeah, hopefully nothing too crazy. I know the storms there have been kind of ripping through Texas and kind of the middle of the country there. So crossing our fingers there, Julie.
Oh, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
a little bit about Schaefer Creative. I actually started Schaefer Creative almost 13 years ago with the intent to help firms and marketers specifically leverage not only your differentiators, but just your expertise. So I do have a team. We do really focus on this industry. We focus on helping firms win work and helping marketers be more efficient in your processes.
Love that. Thank you, Julie. Go ahead and give a very quick background into open assets. Again, this is a customer-focused workshop, so chances are you're familiar with us here. But just for those of you maybe that are newer to the system, we've been in business for about 20 years now, and we have offices in the UK where we started, and then now in the US in New York City with around 1,000 clients globally. Hopefully, anyone is able to hear the leaf blower on my back porch. Funny timing. Think you should be done quick, but we are specifically built for AEC firms helping teams like yours centralize their marketing resources, create faster proposals, and also ultimately win more business. Um, so having first served as a customer success manager here and most recently in my new role in customer marketing as of about 5 or 6 months ago, I have to say my absolute favorite part about being here is how truly dedicated our team is to our customers. And I hope that you all see that with every encounter you have with us, whether it's with your CSM or our support team. And I just want to give a special shout out and thank you to all of you for being here and for being a client of OpenAsset. Julie, you have some upcoming events that we thought we would share with folks here. Do you want to quickly walk through those? And these, I did not put them in order. I forgot to do that, but
No
maybe just a
worries.
quick run through here would be great.
Yes, so I will be talking to SMPS Ozarks in mid-May, May 14th. That is online. And then I have my third of three sessions with SMPS Alaska the next day on May 15th. Then I'm going to travel to West Palm Beach for CIRC. Well, I will join up with my open asset friends, among others. And I have a couple of InDesign pre-conference workshops happening there at CIRC. And then in June is one of my favorite weeks of the year. That's Creative Pro Week, where I will be speaking in Phoenix with about 70 other awesome presenters. So that is a not to be missed. If you've ever been to Creative Pro Week, I think you can agree that it really is a phenomenal week of content. And then later in the summer, in July, for my third year in a row, I'll be doing a North Texas all-day InDesign event with SMPS North Texas. And there's a few others in there, but I want to make sure that they're active on the respective websites.
Cool. Thanks, Julie. You've got a busy spring and summer. Yeah, some really cool stuff. And I know that our team, unfortunately, I won't be there, but I know some members of our team will be there to hang out with you at CIRC. I was like crossing my fingers that I'd go. West Palm Beach, Florida doesn't sound too bad, but I'm sure that that'll be a good time to be there and hang out together.
For sure.
All right. And with that, I think we are good. Yes. So I'm going to just quickly stop the share and restart it, and we'll go ahead and dive in. Let's see. There we go. And I'm just going to share my full screen here. All right. Looks like it is coming through on everyone's end. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so everyone's able to see it a little better. There we go. You all are familiar with this page. This is the open asset system. Now, just to quickly preference, we know that you all, most of you here are AEC marketers, are juggling a lot. Got images from dozens of projects, content across various teams and different places, the never-ending deadlines. And so, what I'm going to focus on is really this is where the OpenAsset plugin for InDesign comes into play. So the reason we built this all those years ago is to take the tedious parts off of your plate, or at least some of them, off of your plate so that you can really focus on the strategy, on the storytelling, and standing out. So let's kind of walk through what that looks like in real time. I always like to start here by showing where we can download the OpenAsset plugin for InDesign. That's kind of the first step to then take advantage of all the workflows that I will show you here today. So you can find that on our Help Center. There's a handy link in your OpenAsset site from the question mark. Just go to the Help Center here. And then if you just search for InDesign installation, it'll be the first thing that pops up here. So just click on that. You'll see that it is available and there's a link to download this on Mac as well as Windows machines. Just go ahead, click on the link, follow the prompts. It's pretty straightforward. There's of course no cost or anything for this. There's also a little video tutorial here if you need help downloading that. Of course, reach out to our team if you have any questions or run into any issues as you're going through that. Now, once you download it, I'm going to go ahead and open up a sample InDesign document that I have. Make that bigger. What you'll want to do is turn it on. So to do that, you'll go to Windows, Extensions, and then the first time that you download it, this should be unchecked. So you'll just want to click it, make sure that it's checked there, it's turned on. And then I always like to recommend kind of docking it to your plugin panel too, like I've done here, just for quick and easy access. So we've got the plugin downloaded, got it turned on and docked. So let's get into the fun part and get into the workflows, starting by showing how you and your team can drag and drop images directly from OpenAsset into your InDesign documents. And then we'll go into a little bit of further detail on kind of what's going on behind the scenes and some additional tips and tricks for that drag and drop workflow. All right. A lot of times when I speak with AEC marketers, this is kind of just a little thing. You'll see here for the sake of this demo, I'm going to kind of split up my screen between OpenAsset and InDesign. For those of you that have multiple monitors, oftentimes we see kind of the person having OpenAsset on one screen and InDesign on the other screen, but you'll be able to follow along through this workflow here. So this is for this InDesign document is for a project, just in my demo instance, Bank Street Canary Wharf. So let's go ahead and click on this project. And now we're going to view all files that are associated with this specific project. And let's say that I want to include one of these images in this project profile sheet that I have here. Got an image frame there. So what I'm going to do now that I have the plugin installed is if you hover over the image, you'll see this little orange icon, this lever in the top right-hand corner. So you'll want to click and hold on this, and then you'll see, as a quick aside, you can drag it and drop it into other applications. So if you're working on like a PowerPoint presentation, maybe you want to include this in like Outlook. If you want to send it to someone, you're able to do that. But of course, for the sake of this webinar, we'll show how you're able to do that in InDesign. So I'm going to click and hold with my mouse. Now I'm going to head over to my InDesign document. I've got my hands off the mouse here. You'll see basically that the cursor has been replaced with the image, and I'm able to just drop it in right to the InDesign document there. So what is happening here? When you drag and drop these images, basically the plugin downloads images from the cloud, your OpenAsset system, and dynamically links them within your InDesign document. So these other images are also pulled from OpenAsset, and you can see when I click into them, they appear in the plugin there as well. Now these images are stored in a local cache on your machine. So the plugin makes it easy for you to work with your coworkers and colleagues on the same InDesign file without the fear of broken links. And once it's installed, you'll be able to see any images in the document that have been dragged from OpenAsset, regardless of who dragged them. I don't know if I can make this. Nope, I can't make this bigger, but hopefully everyone is able to see here, but it might be a little small. Basically, on the right-hand side in the plugin, you'll see this image size text. So what's happening is this is pulling in a specific image size. Now, when dragging and dropping from OpenAsset, the current image size that I have here is medium. So when you're dragging and dropping, these are typically downloaded at a lower res working size to allow you to work quickly. Now, a few things to note. You can always change the image size for a specific image at any time. So for this specific image here, if I want to change this to the original, this is like the high res version that you uploaded to your OpenAsset system, you can do that here. Now you can also, at any time, once you have the plugin installed, if you go to File, you'll see this OpenAsset button that'll be new at the bottom here. So here, kind of in one action, you can change all OpenAsset images to the default high resolution size. So you're able to do that. Now, I also want to mention that the plugin will remind you to update all of your images here to the high resolution size before packaging. So you go and start the package, you'll see there's a little pop-up that'll come up and say, hey, some OpenAsset files are not full res. Would you like to upgrade them now? So a couple of different options there, but what really this is designed is to kind of keep that smaller working size in your document so you can speed along, make any changes that you need to, and then when it's all set to go, you can go ahead and upgrade those all to that high res size. I'll just go ahead and cancel this for now. We'll come back to kind of the packaging in just a moment. I do want to mention that admins of OpenAsset can actually set a default image size when dragging and dropping into InDesign. This is something that many of our customers leverage, but also there's I was actually just speaking with a customer the other day that wasn't aware of this, and it sounds like this is really going to kind of streamline the process as they're creating these documents. So what you're able to do, I'm going to quickly hop into my demo instance again. As an admin, whether that's you or someone on your team, is able to go in to System Settings, and then you go to System Preferences. Now you scroll kind of to the bottom right-hand corner, and you'll see this Cloud Drag and Drop option. So what you can do here is actually set and configure what that default size is for the image when you drag it out of OpenAsset into your InDesign document. So we do have default out of the box sizes that are available when you, and I'll go to a file just to kind of show you what that looks like. When you upload any file to OpenAsset, you've got various sizes available here. I think that all of these right here are out of the box, so you should all see them. Note that you are also able to create a custom image size. So, if you have like a specific size that you want to use for dragging and dropping photos from OpenAsset into InDesign, as an admin, you're able to make that change. So to do that, you'll go to Files and then Image Sizes here. And now you can create that new image size. So you set the format, the resolution, the width, the height, all that good stuff. And after you do this, you can go ahead and set that new image size to the default. So you may name this, something like InDesign. And then I always recommend contacting our support team at support@openasset.com. And what we're able to do then is apply this image size to all of your images in your OpenAsset library. So just note that it doesn't do that retroactively. It will, assuming that this checkbox is set. For any new photos that you upload to OpenAsset, it'll create that size. But if you want to kind of go retroactively and update all of your existing images to have this size available, we can just do that quickly through our support team. So go ahead and reach out to us. All right. Back to InDesign, popping around a little bit here. Let's go ahead and get to packaging your document. So a couple options. just like I showed, you can always package it as you normally would. There is actually another option through OpenAsset, and this is basically the same thing, but this package for OpenAsset is a great tool if you're looking to upload this InDesign file to your OpenAsset system. And what's going to happen is this will generate a zipped package that you can then upload. So not necessary. We do have a lot of clients that store InDesign files in their OpenAsset system, like project sheets, for example, that your team and anyone with OpenAsset access is able to see. Um, so let me just quickly go ahead and show you what that looks like. I'm going to package for OpenAsset, and I'll just skip this for now. You probably would upgrade these to full res. I'm going to choose, I'll just have this on my desktop. And now what you can see is basically, I'll just kind of pull over my downloads here. It's created a folder and then this zip file. And so this zip file is really what you're going to want to upload to your OpenAsset system. And really, you would do that just like any other file in your system. So to quickly walk through that, I'd say a couple different options here that our clients leverage. Looks like we're good on time. Really one of two workflows. The first is, say that you want to upload this to a specific project. So this is a project sheet for this Bank Street Canary Wharf. What you can do is you can go in to this project and then you can upload from here. Now, what that will do is basically tie this project sheet to this specific project. So when you go into all files, you'll be able to actually see that kind of associated here along with other images and renderings and drawings and anything else that you may have associated with this specific project. Alternatively, some of our clients do store or create a custom category, for example, project sheets, and just upload all of their project sheets there that are kind of organized that way for the team to be able to access. And if you wanted to do that, you could just upload from kind of the home screen without choosing a specific project to associate with it. So there's no right or wrong answer there. It's really kind of dependent on how your firm would like to access this content. I'll go ahead and just showcase that first workflow, and this will be quick. So I'll go into this project. I'm going to upload. You see that it's already selected the project. Continue to the uploader. And now, where did you go? Here you are. So we've got the zip file, and I'm going to drag and drop this just like any other file. My internet's been a little wonky today, so this might take just a minute. I won't sit here and watch the wheel. We might have to come back to this in just a minute while it processes. Note that these typically do take a little bit longer than just like an image or something, but here we go. So once that's done, I'll complete the upload. I'm going to close that out. And now let's go ahead and view this project. And here is this project sheet. Pretty cool. It's something that, again, I would say historically, up until a year or two ago, not a lot of our clients were really storing this type of content in the system. But as our team is talking with customers, it is something that more and more are doing. So it's a very quick and straightforward workflow. Now I can view this document here. So again, even if members of your team don't have access to InDesign, many firms, maybe the technical team members don't have access to InDesign likely. They're still able to access this document within OpenAsset, assuming that they have access to your OpenAsset system. All right, so I think I have about 5 minutes left, and then I'll kick it over to Julie. So the next workflow that I'll go through here is kind of now that we've seen how easy it is to drag and drop images into InDesign, let's kind of take it one step further. And one of the biggest time savers for our clients is custom templates. So these are pre-built branded layouts, most often in the form of project sheets, resumes, and presentations that really let your team skip the formatting and get straight to producing those polished on-brand pieces of collateral. So I'm going to walk through an example of a project sheet in OpenAsset that exports out to InDesign. So let's say, as an example, I want to find some work that we have done in London, specifically in the corporate sector. And I've got these 3 projects here that fit that. What I can do is I can always generate a project sheet for one project by clicking into that, our friendly Bank Street Canary Wharf, and you'll see once the template is set up in your system, assuming it's an InDesign, which we're of course demoing today, you'll see the InDesign icon here that you can then click on the template that you want to generate. So a quick note here, many of our clients do just have like a standard one project sheet template that we build out. Many also do have maybe 2 or 3 templates. So you can see here an example is maybe you have a common thing that we see is like a 1-page project sheet and maybe a 2-page or a 3-page or a landscape and a portrait. We're able to kind of build those various templates out based on what your firm is frequently using. Alternatively, like my example, I want to generate a project sheet for these 3 projects. So I'm going to select those. You hit this export button on the right-hand side. And now you've got these templates, just a different view, but it's really kind of the same window. You see the available templates in your system. We'll just choose this sample project sheet, export it, and take a look at what we have. Let's open this up. All right, so what we have here, you can see we've got the project sheet for Bank Street Canary Wharf, Bloom Whitechapel, and the White Collar Factory based on those 3 projects that I selected. So you've got all of your formatting, your fonts, and your layout of these project sheets are customized for your firm. And I'll get to this in just a minute to kind of explain just very briefly kind of how we build those out. But here's the really cool part. We are pulling this data, such as the project description, the sector, date completed, etc., as well as these images. That's all pulling from OpenAsset and then exporting into your document here. So you can see on the image side, when I click on these, you'll see that that's linked again to the image in OpenAsset. You can even open these images directly in OpenAsset. So long story short, really what that comes down to and what that means is as long as that data is updated in your OpenAsset system, so things like the description, again, here's the completion date, it's pulling in keywords. As long as that's updated in OpenAsset, it'll be up to date in your templates going forward. One other thing and last thing that I will show here is, we've got these project sheets. If you do, and how these images are pulled in is we typically configure them to pull in based on marketing preference or rank in your OpenAsset system so that your best content is being used. That said, you can easily swap out images. So if you don't want to use this one and you want to use a different one instead, kind of for that hero image, what you can do is just go back to that drag and drop workflow. And let's go back to all files. And let's choose, say I like this one to be kind of that main image. I'm going to drag, drop. And now what I'm going to do, I'm on a Mac here. So I'm going to, while I click on this image right here that I want to replace, I'm going to hold the Option button and just click on that. And it's actually just going to replace the image that I already had there. If you're on a Windows machine, you'll just hold the Alt button while you do that. So quick overview of the template process, and then I'll pass it over to Julie to kind of take it and run with it. How that works is your team sends us your example template. So say it's a project sheet, you send us a current project sheet, as well as typically it's helpful to have like a blank copy of kind of what you would like the template to look like once it's done. So I'll quickly show you here, and I'll link this in the chat. You'd send us like an example document of your project sheet template as well as a blank document. And this just kind of helps us know, hey, we want our project description to go here, and we want the sector of this project to go here. Then our team takes those documents, builds out your project sheet in your OpenAsset system. Typically, there's about a 2-week turnaround time to get that done. We send that to you for feedback. There's up to 3 rounds of revisions where you say, hey, can we change this and that? And we make those changes. And then once it's finalized, it is live and available for use by your team in your OpenAsset system. I do just want to call out too, just as a quick aside, that you can set permissions in your system, in your OpenAsset system, to allow for those templates to only be accessible by certain team members, if you'd like. So something that, for instance, maybe you just want your marketing team to be able to access these project sheets, but other members of your team who have access to OpenAsset, they don't need to see those. That's something that we can work with you on too. So with OpenAsset, you've kind of got the foundation in place. Your content is easy to find, it's fast to use, and stays on brand. So let's go ahead and build on that. And I'll pass it over to Julie, who now is going to show you how to really take these documents to the next level with layout tips, design tricks, and ways to really make your content shine. So Julie, I'll stop the share and pass it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, CJ. I just love all of the things that you can do in OpenAsset. But then what? We've brought in our example project sheets, and I'm working on a current pursuit. So the document I have open now is my current pursuit. And some key things here is that my current pursuit has a font minimum requirement of 11 point, and it has a margin requirement of 0.75 inches. So I've set up this file with those minimum requirements. Now I can tell right off the bat that this very first project is a bit of a mess. So I've got some extra returns and spacing and some overrides and things happening there that we'll want to deal with, but we'll get there. The next thing I want to look at as I'm just level setting of what's going on is I'm going to take a look in my Pages panel, and I can see that this document was created in a current version of InDesign where we have a parent page. So it is called a-parent. Then if I look in my Object Styles panel, I can see that I have some object styles already created. So I have one for this main text frame. I have one for the sidebar, and I even have one for the name that has this gray fill in this white text. Now my photo one is a little different because I didn't give it a specific size or XY coordinate, but what I did do answers one of the questions about how to keep those object styles kind of how you might want them, or at least auto sizing. So if I right click to edit the photo object style, the only thing that I did in the object style is I scrolled down to frame fitting options, and I told it to auto fit, so that is checked, and to fill frame proportionately. So whenever I bring in a photo and apply this photo object style, it may be whatever size that I originally had the frame, but it's at least going to fill that frame proportionally, and it's going to auto fit. So that means if I just take this and I kind of start to resize it, I'm just dragging, you can see how the photo inside of the frame is just auto fitting. So I'm never going to have kind of that empty frame look. I'm going to undo all of that. Then I also have my example document, so similar to what CJ just pulled. This is what came out of my OpenAsset system. Now, the first thing I can tell is that the measurements aren't quite working in my brain because we're in pixels in this document. My RFP is in inches, and I would like to reset this document to inches. And I can do that at the intersection of the rulers. Now, if you can't see the rulers, it's Command or Control R, turns those on or off. And I'm going to right click on the intersection in the top left here of the rulers and just change the document settings, the measurement for the entire document. I'm going to change that to inches. So that makes it a little bit better. Then other than that, when I take a look around here, and we'll look in our Pages panel, this template was created a few years ago, so we're in the A master naming convention. So we'll see how that impacts us when we bring it over into our current pursuit. I also know that in the object styles, I don't have any object styles in this document. So I'm going to want to fix that when we bring it over into our current pursuit. But I do have some paragraph styles and I have some character styles. Now, what I like to do, especially if I'm about to embark on a cleanup effort, in both the character and paragraph styles panels, I want to get rid of what's not in use, just so I don't have to worry about it. Just going to click on the panel menu and choose Select All Unused. And that allows me just to hit the trash can to clean up that character style panel, and the same thing in paragraph styles. So we'll select all unused. It's going to select all of those paragraph styles not in use. And then I can just hit the trash can and we should be good. Now, the other thing that I have done in this document to point it out, and one of the cleanup things that I want to talk about, is here when I look at the sidebar, and I have gone in and highlighted through a grep that I have a problem. I have a comma immediately followed by a character. There should be a space here, but there's not. And I can see just on this page, I have another one right underneath it. Now we can solve this problem in InDesign with grep. And if you were part of the Beyond Basics webinar last year, I talked a little bit about grep and how it works in a paragraph style, which I've set up here. That's why we can see this orange. So I'm going to right click to edit this paragraph style and just show you what I have going on here. So I have created a character style of highlights. That's this orange highlight. And I told it with grep code just to select for me a specific pattern. That is a comma immediately followed by any letter. Now, this is an awesome tool in paragraph styles because we can apply character styles to things. And text, it's looking for patterns. But what we cannot do here is actually change anything. Because in this case, I need to change it. I need it to be a comma space character. And I can't, within a paragraph style, add, replace, or delete any characters. But I can in Find Change. So I'm going to click OK here. And instead, go to Command or Control F for Find Change. Now, many of you have been here before. You've probably gone to the text area and you've found text and replaced it. But this one is in grep. Now, again, grep is a command line utility, so it's kind of like an Excel formula, but don't feel overwhelmed by that. It can actually be pretty simple because we have a lot of little cheat codes off here on the sides. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a comma followed by really any letter, lowercase or capital, and I need to split those things apart. I need the comma, then the space, then that character. So in grep, in the find what, I'm looking for a comma, and I'm going to put it in its own little group in parentheses. So I'm just going to type a little parentheses here, comma, close that parentheses. That's just telling InDesign I'm looking first for this specific group, which is group 1 is the comma. Then I need it to be a second group of whatever that letter is. And I'm going to do another little open parentheses. And I don't remember what that code is, and you don't have to. All you have to do is go to the little @ flyout menu, navigate down to wildcards, and I'm going to choose any letter. And this gives me the grep code for any lowercase or uppercase letter. And then I want to close that little parentheses. Now we will drop this in the summary that we have after this session, so you don't have to worry about it. But basically I'm saying find a comma immediately followed by a letter. Now in the change part, I don't have to put the parentheses. I can just say I want a comma space, and I hit the space bar. And then I want it to give back to me whatever it found here in this second grouping. And I can go back to the flyout menu, go to found, and we're really looking for found to. That means it's found the text in that second grouping. So it's a $2. So again, I know it feels like we're in a coding session today, but these are the kinds of things we can do in InDesign to kind of clean up our document. So I have my code. I'm just going to do a quick find next to make sure that it's working. And it is. It's finding all of those. So now in my document, I'll do a quick change all. It found 14 of them. And now I am compliant. I'm correct. Those are now fixed. Now remember, I had created that grep within the paragraph style to make it the orange highlights. That only works for a pattern that stays intact. I just broke the pattern because I added a space there. So it no longer is going to be highlighted orange. So using a combination of both paragraph style grep and find change can really, really help clean up your content. So with that, I'm going to go back over to my current pursuit. Take a look at it again. Again, we're in an A parent. So I want to move the pages from this document to current pursuit. So in my example, OpenAsset document, I'm going to select all 3 pages in the Pages panel, right-click and choose Move Pages. Now, if you don't select them first, you always can go to this drop-down of all pages. But I want to move all of the pages. I always skip over the destination and go right to which document I have open, which is called Current Pursuit. Then I go to the destination just in case it's after a specific page. Right now, there's only one page, so I'm just going to move all of these to the end and click OK. So now in Current Pursuit, I have my first project. Then I have the other 3. Now here is the bummer. Look at my Pages panel. I have both an A parent and an A master. So it's not recognizing that the prefix is the same. It's actually bringing both over. So I'm just going to select my 3 new ones, right-click, apply parent to pages, and let's go ahead and apply the A parent to all of the pages. So now we can see, or did I just apply the master? Let's try that again. I'm going to right-click, apply parent to pages. I think I did, yeah, A parent to all the pages. There we go. Now I have something crazy happening. What is going on? There. If that doesn't work, just drag it over. Just drag that little icon over. It can be a little quirky sometimes. Okay. So we have some cleanup to do. The first thing that I want to do is run 2 scripts to clean up the chaos that's happening on this page. So if you're not familiar with scripts, they're little baby programs built into InDesign, and these are 2 of my very favorites. And you can get to the scripts panel by going to Window, Utilities, Scripts. Window Utilities, Scripts. And within the Scripts panel, there are 3 folders. And this first one that I am going to run is to clear out any kind of style overrides. I can see that this font is different. In fact, if I turn on my override highlighter, you can see some style overrides here. So I'm going to start there. That lives in the community folder. And I'm just going to choose Clear Style Overrides. And we'll process all of them and click Clear Overrides. So that fixed the override issue. All I did was double click on the script called Clear Style Overrides. The next one is called Find Change by List. And again, this is looking for all of these extra spaces and extra hard returns. In fact, this plus about 7 or 8 other things we can clean up with one script. And it's already here for you in the application folder, JavaScript. So application samples JavaScript. find change by list. I'm just going to double click it in the document and click OK. And now with 2 quick scripts, I've cleaned up my entire document of any overrides and certainly those little extra hard returns and spaces and things. So again, those are 2 scripts. They're both already available in your version of InDesign. One is in the samples folder, JavaScript, find change by list. The other is in the community folder, clear style overrides. Now there is another cleanup thing that I want to do here because I mentioned I have a font minimum of 11 point. And I look down here and I can see that this text is actually in 9. And I could do a find change for a font size of a particular size, but it's not going to capture some of those nuances. I just want to make sure that there is an indicator to me in InDesign of when I have font smaller than 11 point. And to do that, we're going to go to the very bottom of your InDesign screen. It's actually right next to your errors. That is a little pre-flight or a little drop down. When I click on it, I can choose Define Profiles. And here are the default profiles already in InDesign. So you've been looking at basic working probably your whole career. I want to create a new one. So I'm going to hit the plus sign here. And I'm just going to call this 11 point min. Now there's a lot of settings in here and I could spend a lot of time in this pre-flight area, but all I want to do is open up the text area, scroll down to where it says minimum type size. I'm going to check that and I'm going to type in 11. That's all I have to do to set and create this pre-flight profile. Now, if you do proposals all the time, as I do, I have a version of this for 10 point minimum, 11 point, 12 point, whatever those requirements might be. So now that I have this available, I can click OK here and then change my pre-flight profile from the bottom to this new 11 point minimum. And that is going through and it's found 3 errors. So if I look at the pre-flight panel, oops, nope, oh no, cancel that. When I look at text, I have 3 places where I have the type is too small. So why is that? Why is this type too small? Well, if I look in the paragraph styles panel, I have this project body text style, whereas it really should just be body text. So this came in when I brought those pages over, and I really just want to right click on it, edit project body text, and I'm going to base this on the body text style, reset to base. Because I know that might come over, I might get some more OpenAsset project sheets and that might come over. So I just want to base it on body text so I know it's meeting that 11 point minimum requirement. And now if I look at the bottom, I have no errors. Now I know I'm getting really close to time, so I have one more thing I want to show you very quickly. And that is the fact that I have these things without object styles, including this project name. Looking at the first page, we can see it should look like this. It's currently looking invisible because I have white text on white. So I want to find every instance of a frame that is this big and replace it with my object style. So let's go back into Find Change again, Command or Control F. We're going to leave grep and we're going to navigate over to Object. So you can find change by objects now. Now it doesn't have the same options as we have in an object style. So for this one, I'm going to look in Find Object Format. I'm just going to click in here where it says Text Frame General Options. I have that name frame selected so I can see up here that it is 7.25 inches wide. So I'm just going to type in 7.25. So I'm telling InDesign in this document, find every frame for me that is 7.25 inches wide, and then change it under style options to my style that I created called project name. That's that gray filled style. And I can search the selection or the document. And I can also search just within text frame so I'm not accidentally grabbing an image and doing the same thing. And now I'll do a quick change all. And it found all three of them. It found, of course, my first one, but now we have all three project sheet headings are now all consistent with that object style. Now, if you have this happen a lot, especially you have your template in OpenAsset and you're bringing it over and you have an object style already created and applied, you can save this query from our little save query button. So I'm just going to call this, I'll just call it Q1 for now, just in simplicity. Click OK. And then next time when you bring over your project sheets from OpenAsset, you can choose this Q1. It's going to replace that name from that original template with your new object style of project name. And with that, you would, of course, do the other frames, and then you're good. And I think I am at time.
Awesome. That was great, Julie. Thank you so much for running through that. Some awesome tips and tricks there. So I hope that this was helpful. I have seen some questions coming in, and I can go ahead and take a couple related to OpenAsset, and then Julie, if there's any specifically on your piece, feel free to jump in there. If we don't have time to answer everybody, then again, we'll be sure to follow up directly. So one thing that I actually realized I forgot to show, and I think that it may help specifically with one of the questions, is let me quickly go back and share my screen so you can see it in action. Is I kind of demoed like one of the ways in which you can drag and drop a file from OpenAsset into InDesign, but there are a couple of other workflows as well. So just to quickly run through them, the core and a drag and drop motion is the same. So we'll start just by going into our project images here. Previously, I showed kind of dragging and dropping an image into a frame. What you can also do is just go ahead and we'll do this one. Again, same thing, click, hold, and I can just kind of click and hold now in my document, and then I can drag to where I want that to be placed. So very similar, but you don't have to have like an existing image frame there to be able to drag and drop it in. I can do a quick Command Z. Once will kind of give me the cursor back and I can drop it into a new place. Twice will kind of clear that image out of your drag and drop workflow and you can kind of start over. So the other workflow that I want to kind of highlight is, let's say that you are looking to pull maybe 2, 3, or more images from your OpenAsset system into your document. You don't have to go through and kind of do them one at a time. You can, but there is a more efficient workflow. So similar to how I selected those projects earlier that I wanted to create a project sheet for, that selection option is the same with your files. You're looking to take a certain set of action with these files. So I'm going to select these 2 or more and then head over to my selected tab. When working with customers, I always like to give the analogy of your selected tab is kind of the equivalent of a cart, like in Amazon. You're looking to take a certain action with it. Amazon, you're looking to probably buy that, or if you have good self-control, you're looking to wait, hang out for a week, see if you still want to buy it, and then do it. In OpenAsset, what you're looking to do in this case is drag and drop these images into your InDesign document. So what I'm going to do now, instead of using this little orange icon on each image, you'll see I have a drag and drop icon on the right-hand toolbar. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to click and hold on this. But now, when I click back and go back into my InDesign document, the image is a little small, but if I cycle through on my keyboard with my keys, you'll see it's actually kind of got both of those images that I've selected. And now I can say, hey, I want to drag and drop this one here, and then this one here, wherever you want to include those in your document. So that's just a nice workflow. to increase the efficiency if you are kind of doing more than one at a time. So I wanted to make sure that I called that out. A couple of other questions that I can quickly address that came through is there was one, let's see, I have had the issue of my photos being resized in their frames after I upgrade to high res. Then when I look at my exported PDF, the images are out of alignment or resized way too big for the frame. Any tips for that? I will say for a couple of these technical questions, I've pinged our wonderful support team and implementation team to help answer these. And so we'll follow up with you directly too, just to make sure that you get any sort of issue or question resolved. But hopefully I can give you at least some initial information that might be helpful. So our team shared if the images are resized in the frames after they upgrade to high res, there may be some setting on the image frame that's adjusting the image placement or zoom. We suggest trying it with a straight image box that has no properties added and see if it's still happening. If yes, then go ahead and reach out to support@openasset.com and our support team can help you from there. Another question, when I'm exporting a PDF, OpenAsset prompts me to download high-res images. All of my images placed are a custom format that's larger than the default high-res setting. What is the plugin looking for? And what is the plugin looking for, excuse me, that triggers that warning? Effective PPI for an image placed larger than 100%. Our team came back and shared it prompts if the sizes used are not the default high-res size set up for InDesign drag-and-drop. If the user doesn't want to use the default high-res drag-and-drop size, you can turn that prompt off in the settings of the plugin here. So go to settings, I think it's on images, and then you'll see that checkbox here. If you do want to change it globally, you can do that in the OpenAsset default user settings. So just to very quickly highlight that, and I know we're running short on time, Julie, then I'll pass it over to you. That can be done. I think I may have to switch users here. So give me just 1 second, but I can show you where that is in the back end. Settings, go back to system settings, and then system preferences. So here you see we do have we reviewed earlier that InDesign default dropped image size. There's also this InDesign high res image size. And I believe that if you don't see this option in your system, go ahead and reach out to us and we can change this for you. This might be a kind of an OpenAsset support thing that we need to do, but here we can actually change what that high res image size is on the back end here. Hopefully that helps. We'll follow up with you. I know we've got about 2 minutes left. Julie, anything that you wanted to cover regarding questions that came in?
Yeah, so I answered a couple of them in the Q&A, but they're such great questions. One of which was that found to, when I was showing the grep and find change, and I did a grouping with the comma and then a group with the grep code for the letters. So the way it works is whatever's the first group would be technically the found one if we go to the change area, and the second group is found two. So I did in the change area, I'm ignoring the fact that it found a comma without a space. So I just created my own new comma with a space. And then I want it to give back to me what was in that found two, that letter. So it's really pointing back to the groupings that are in the find field. So that's a great question. The next really great and important question is that 11-point minimum document profile that I created. That is for you, that is in your version of InDesign. So once you create those profiles, you'll see them regardless of the document you're in. It's not attached to the document. So if you have a coworker, I recommend that you show them this video so they can set up their own minimum document profiles as well. No, they're probably in the depth somewhere within your InDesign, but it would probably take us longer to figure out where those profiles live than just to recreate that. Great questions.
Amazing. Thank you, Julie. So I think that is it. I know that there are more questions so we didn't get a chance to. So again, we following up with you directly there to provide those answers. We'll also include a link of this recording as well as the presentation. And I'm going to be working with our team too to create like a quick kind of one pager because I know we covered a lot. So it's just a handy kind of resource that you and your team can have that covers what we talked about today. So Julie, always great working with you. This is like the first time just you and I have done something together,
Yes,
and it was really awesome. So thank you so much for being here.
thank
Thank
you.
you to all of our customers as well. Hope that this was helpful and hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.